Hello world, hello friend. It's been a tough first month of 2023 and we should talk about it. I'm Delia, I'm a software engineer and I talk about tech and travel, so subscribe if you're interested in any of that. And today we're going to talk about the Google layoffs, the tech layoffs in general, and how this marks an entire monumental shift to the tech industry and possibly the end of the FAANG era. Grab a coffee, grab a beer, grab your drink of choice, and grab a seat. Let's talk about it. My marker doesn't work, but we have the technology. So once upon a time, in the land of the tech industry, there were the mighty FAANGs. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. Wait, something's wrong. I think we added Netflix. Why is Netflix there? No, Netflix is supposed to be there. Oh right, it's Manga now. Meta, Apple, Netflix, Google, Amazon, because Facebook changed to Meta. Once upon a time, in the land of the tech industry, there were the mighty Manga. These companies were renowned for their kingdom-like power and influence, not to mention their endless resources and luxuries. As a mere mortal in the tech industry, working for a FAANG or a Manga was like being handed a gold crown and a scepter and being treated like royalty. I should know because I had this privilege. The perks were endless: gourmet meals, massages, transportation, even laundry services. The office spaces were like palaces, complete with marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and the technology. The latest and greatest gadgets and software were at your fingertips, and you were privy to information and insights that would make any tech nerd swoon. And best one of all, Google.
Isn't Apple the only one of them not laying people off right now? So aren't they better?
Well, Google is the most prestigious and hardest to get into, most sought after employer in the world. They get like 3 million applications and only 0.2% of people get in. The movie The Internship was based on Google. And haven't you seen the movie 21? That guy quit his epic millionaire blackjack career to go work at Google.
Yeah, but they only give you those perks so that your entire life revolves around the company. And from an HR perspective, that increases retention, reduces turnover, and makes people work more.
You know what? You're not gonna let me finish. I give up on this presentation.
Okay, but really, when it comes to Google specifically, the company is known for having a unique culture and approach to work-life balance. For example, Google has a philosophy of 20% time, which allows employees to spend 20% of their work time on projects that interest them and might not even be directly related to their main job responsibilities. I've had plenty of 20% projects, and it is a true thing. And this allows room for creativity and innovation, but it also makes Google well known as a fun place to work that cares about their employees, with all the perks and amenities and free food, games, and even nap pods. So it's really crazy that Google, of all companies, had mass layoffs. This means a complete shift in tech. They even laid off their massage therapists, so no more free massages. As many of you probably know, Google recently announced that it's laying off 12,000 workers, or 6.5% of its global workforce, many of whom had been there for 15 plus years, some even 2 decades. And even though many got nice severance packages and their yearly bonus, and sure, Google offered more than they legally had to, this was just totally unexpected and out of character, especially from who some people call the best employer in the world. And I can't help but think that this means the golden days of the FAANG era are over. I mean, even the head of mental health and well-being got laid off, so I can't imagine things will be as googly as they once were. And what's probably next is deeper cuts. During COVID, Google hired 30% of their workforce, and right now they only laid off 6.7% of their workforce, or 12,000 people. I think usually they hire around 7,000 to 10,000, something like that. If you do the math, I think there's still some more cutting that they have to do. And what's crazy is there's actually investors that have messaged Sundar, the CEO, complaining about the layoffs. Not because they're mad that people are getting laid off, people are losing their jobs, they have no way to support their families or pay their mortgages or anything like that. No. They're getting upset because the layoffs weren't deep enough. And the sad truth is the layoffs will probably get deeper. So I predict there's gonna be a lot more layoffs, not from Google specifically, but in tech in general, probably from Google as well, sadly. But the interesting thing is, this is the first mass layoff to make it to the mass media. But right before I switched to a software engineer position on the Gmail team, I used to be a cloud technical solutions engineer. And a lot of my US colleagues got laid off because they hired so many TSEs, so many technical solutions engineers during COVID, and so many of them got laid off because they just kept hiring and hiring and hiring. It's not the first time the layoffs are happening, but it is the first time that they're happening at this scale globally and with this many people. And the scariest part is that Google, of all companies, are doing this. They are traditionally known for being the rest and vest, take it easy, come in the middle of your career and, work a little bit, have a good work-life balance, make a lot of money, and rest and vest. But that's no longer gonna be the case, because this act of doing this, even though they do have enough money to sustain all these employees, they do obviously have some competition with ChatGPT, with all the new companies, that they do wanna be more lean. So I understand the business point of view, I suppose, but they could afford it. They could afford not laying people off. But the real problem is, I think, is that you already have the snowball effect of companies laying people off. So in order for the other companies to compete, they also have to cut costs. They also have to lay people off. Otherwise, they're not gonna make profits. They're gonna just die. It's an adapt or die type of culture in the tech industry. And you have to be lean in order to still make it, even as a big dog. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like Blockbuster or MSN or any of the other tech companies that, had an untimely demise.
The sad truth is that companies need to take these measures to survive in capitalism, and that what companies can offer us as employees is very dependent on the economy. In order for companies to care about us, they first need to survive.
So yeah, I think this is gonna be the beginning of tapering off a lot of tech employees. But don't fret. The good news is it's only temporary. It's bound to come back around. This is just part of the cyclical, iterative nature of the economy. And I'm gonna make another video explaining why it's happening and talking more about what's gonna happen next and what you should do if you're looking to not just thrive, but just survive in this economy. So I'm gonna make a separate video about that. I hope that this was somewhat informative, and let me know if you have any questions or concerns down below. I am really sorry to anyone who is affected by all of this, but it'll come back. It'll bounce back eventually and everything will be okay. So what does all of this mean for you, whether you're new to the tech industry, have been there tons of years, maybe you've already lived through a tech recession before, and these are some of the things that you should do, or I would recommend that you do right now. So first is, don't lose hope. Companies rise and fall and history repeats itself and recessions end, so things will recover. Don't worry, don't stop coding, get back at that laptop. Also focus on small companies. FAANGs are not everything. If anything taught us that, it's the situation that we're in right now. So many smaller companies are still hiring, and some of them pay a lot better and offer better perks, in my opinion at least, like remote work from anywhere. So consider joining small companies. Be a little bit more flexible with job options and things like that. So a few of the companies that are hiring can be found here. I'm gonna link that in the description as well. Another great thing you can do is be ready to adapt and to upskill. So keep working on your skills. No matter in what area you are, you should keep working on skills and learning new skills. This is the best time to do that. Fourth, don't trust any company. Don't think you're safe just because you've worked there for, so many years. A lot of the employees that got laid off at Google had been there for over 15 years. Like, that's crazy. And honestly, it's because they care about their bottom line. Obviously, if they're paying someone $1 million because they've been there for 17 years, it makes more sense to cut that cost and keep another 10 employees. So there's probably a lot of ethics and a lot of different things involved, but nobody is safe. Whether you just joined, that doesn't mean that you are gonna be laid off or that you're gonna be affected. There's a lot of people that had just joined and they're not affected at all. So your tenure and even your performance doesn't have that much of an impact here. Though, don't get me wrong, your performance does have an impact, like keep performing well. Don't slack off just because you think, oh, well, this is it. But point is, nobody's safe in this economy. So because of that, number 5, put your own interests first. Do not think, oh, but what about my coworkers? What about the company? No, put your own interests first. Do what's best for you. And 6, also make sure that you are preparing for the worst case scenario and have, backup savings, backup plans, maybe side hustles, side income, anything like that that might help you in case of the worst case scenario. Also focus on expanding your network and rekindling those relationships that you might have with people on LinkedIn, because that's how you're going to get a lot of opportunities. There's weak connections and strong connections, and make sure that you pay attention to those weaker connections of random people in different fields on LinkedIn that you might have talked to years ago. You never know when they might have a good opportunity for you. Another good idea to recession-proof yourself a little bit is to have different streams of income, whether that's Airbnb, online courses, consulting, content creation, whatever you're into. There's so many different ways to make money online now, so I would highly recommend, even just in general, start a side hustle. It's a lot of fun, and it does give you that extra cushion that makes you feel a little bit better in times like these. And finally, and the biggest thing I would recommend doing right now, is focusing on the bigger picture, on infrastructure, and on learning AI and learning how to use AI tools. Because not if, but when the economy and the tech sector bounces back, AI is going to be everything. And if you can understand AI, use it well, you're going to be ahead of the game. So that is probably the best thing to do right now. And finally, if you know someone who's affected by the rough situation that we're in right now, check in with them, ask them if there's any way you can help, things like that. So that's all I'm going to say until this blows over a little bit. But I'm going to start making a lot more videos soon. So if you're interested in those, subscribe. I will also hopefully see you in the next video. Bye.